Mother Teresa did not begin her life as a world-famous figure. She was born on August 26, 1910, in Skopje, a city that was then part of the Ottoman Empire and is now in North Macedonia. Her birth name was Agnieszka Gongshe Bojakshiu. She came from an Albanian family with strong religious values. Her father, Nicole, was involved in business and community affairs, while her mother, Drana File, was known for kindness, faith, and helping people in need. From a very young age, Agnieszka grew up in a home where compassion was not just taught in words, but shown through action. This early environment shaped the heart she would carry for the rest of her life. Her childhood was not completely easy. When she was still young, her father died unexpectedly. This deeply affected the family and left her mother to raise the children with strength and dignity. Even during difficult times, her mother continued helping the poor, often inviting needy people into their home for food and care. These moments left a deep mark on young Agnieszka. She began to understand that true faith was not only about prayer, but also about serving others. As she grew older, she became more involved in church life and started feeling that her life should have a special purpose. By the age of 12, she had already begun to feel drawn toward a religious life. Over the next few years, that feeling became stronger. She was especially inspired by stories of missionaries who traveled far away to serve people. India caught her attention in a powerful way. At 18, she made a life-changing decision. She left her home and family to join the Sisters of Loreto, a Catholic religious group connected with missionary work in India. First, she went to Ireland in 1928 to learn English, because it was needed for her future service. This was a major turning point. It meant leaving behind her birthplace, her family, and the life she had always known. After a short time in Ireland, she traveled to India, the country that would define the rest of her life. She arrived in Calcutta, now called Kolkata, in 1929. There she began her religious training and later took the name Teresa, in honor of Saint Thérèse of Lisieux. She eventually became known as Sister Teresa. In the following years, she worked as a teacher at St. Mary's School for Girls in Calcutta. The school mainly served students from better-off families, and she was respected for being disciplined, caring, and devoted to her work. She later became a headmistress. At this stage, her life seemed stable, ordered, and centered on teaching. But outside the school walls, Calcutta was full of suffering. Poverty, hunger, sickness, and homelessness were everywhere. Mother Teresa saw a sharp contrast between the classroom and the streets. Then, in 1946, during a train journey to Darjeeling, she experienced what she later described as a call within a call. She felt that God was asking her to leave the convent school and serve the poorest of the poor directly. This was not a small decision. It meant stepping away from the security of convent life and entering the hardest areas of the city with very little protection or comfort. In 1948, she received permission to leave the Loreto convent and begin her new mission. She put aside the traditional religious habit she had worn before and chose a simple white sari with blue borders, the clothing style that later became closely linked with her identity. She received basic medical training and then went into the slums of Calcutta to help the poor, the sick, and the dying. This was the real beginning of the work that would make her known around the world. But at first, there was no large organization, no global fame, and no great support system. There was only one woman, deep faith, and a decision to serve people whom society often ignored. In 1950, her work became more organized when she founded the Missionaries of Charity in Calcutta. The purpose of this new group was simple but powerful: to care for the poorest of the poor. What began with almost nothing slowly grew into a religious community of women dedicated to service. They opened homes for people who were dying, children who had no support, and families living in extreme poverty. One of the best-known homes was Nirmal Hriday, or the Home for the Dying, where people who had been left alone on the streets could receive care, dignity, and human compassion in their final days. As the years passed, Mother Teresa's work spread beyond Calcutta. More women joined her mission, and the Missionaries of Charity expanded to other parts of India and then to countries around the world. Her name became known not because of wealth or political power, but because she chose to serve those many others ignored. She often spoke about doing small things with great love. That simple message touched millions. To many people, she became a symbol of mercy, humility, and selfless service in a fast-changing world. Global recognition came steadily. In 1979, Mother Teresa received the Nobel Peace Prize for her humanitarian work. This award brought even more attention to her mission, but she continued to live in a very simple way. She did not present herself as a celebrity. Instead, she kept focusing on service, prayer, and the daily needs of the poor. Over time, she met world leaders, inspired volunteers, and became one of the most recognized religious figures of the 20th century. Yet the core of her image remained the same: a small woman in a white sari with blue borders, serving people with quiet determination. Like many famous historical figures, Mother Teresa's legacy has also been discussed and debated. Some people admired her deeply for giving love and dignity to forgotten people. Others questioned certain parts of her methods, beliefs, and the quality of care in some homes. But whatever side of the discussion one takes, her impact on world history is impossible to ignore. She changed how many people thought about charity, compassion, and responsibility toward the poor. Her life became part of a larger global conversation about faith, suffering, and human service. Mother Teresa died on September 5, 1997, in Calcutta, India. Her death was felt around the world, because by then she had become far more than a local missionary. She had become an international symbol of service. In 2016, the Catholic Church officially declared her a saint, and she became known as Saint Teresa of Calcutta. For beginners trying to understand her story, the simplest way to remember it is this: she was born in Skopje, felt called to religious life at a young age, came to India as a teacher, and then devoted herself to serving the poorest people in society. Her journey was not about power, fame, or comfort. It was about choosing compassion again and again. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and subscribe to English History Tales for more simple and powerful history stories in English.